Imagine a direct line, not through wires or airwaves, but between two minds. A whisper of thought, a rush of emotion, shared without a single word. Sounds like something out of a dream, or perhaps a hallucination, right? But what if certain altered states of consciousness could genuinely open such a channel? Today, we're plunging into one of the most intriguing and mind-bending claims within the world of psychedelics, psychedelic telepathy. Can mind-altering substances unlock a direct channel between consciousnesses? Can a shared journey into the depths of perception lead to a profound, almost mystical connection that feels undeniably like mind speaking without words? It's a question that has fascinated shamans for millennia, intrigued early psychedelic researchers, and continues to emerge in anecdotal reports from modern-day psychedelic voyagers. But is there anything to it? Or is it just a powerful illusion, a trick of the mind under extraordinary circumstances? Let's start by understanding what people actually mean when they talk about psychedelic telepathy. Because it's rarely about sending specific thought packets, like ordering a pizza mentally from across the room. Instead, the experiences reported are far more nuanced, often deeply emotional, and intensely subjective. A fascinating qualitative study by P.G. Johnston in 2020, titled Psychedelic Telepathy, an interview study, provides some clarity on these reported experiences. Johnston interviewed individuals who claimed to have experienced telepathy while on psychedelics, categorizing their accounts into three main types. The first was information exchange, where subjects felt they were receiving specific thoughts or messages. The second, and perhaps more commonly described, was telempathy, a profound sharing of emotions, feelings, and even physical sensations. Imagine feeling another person's joy or sorrow as if it were your own, with an intensity that transcends normal empathy. The third, and perhaps most profound, was a sense of self-dissolution and unity, where the boundaries between individuals seemed to vanish entirely, leading to an experience of shared consciousness, where individual minds felt part of a larger, interconnected whole. Michael Pollan, in his seminal book How to Change Your Mind, recounts numerous instances of participants in psychedelic studies reporting profound empathic connections, especially in group settings. These aren't just polite social interactions, they are often described as deeply emotional, nonverbal understandings that forge bonds unlike anything experienced in ordinary consciousness. It's the feeling of being truly seen, truly understood, without the need for words, often described as a form of group mind or shared awareness. So, if literal mind reading remains firmly in the realm of fiction, what could be happening in the brain that gives rise to these incredibly compelling feelings of telepathic connection? Modern neuroscience, while cautious, offers some intriguing avenues for exploration. One of the most frequently cited phenomena in high-dose psychedelic experiences is ego dissolution, or ego death. Dr. Majda Milliere, in her 2017 paper, Self-Unbound, Ego Dissolution in Psychedelic Experience, explores this profound state. When the ego, our ordinary sense of a separate, bounded self, begins to dissolve, the lines between me and not me blur. This can lead to a profound feeling of unity, with nature, with the universe, and critically, with other people. If your sense of individual separation fades, a feeling of shared consciousness, or telepathy, becomes a natural, albeit subjective, consequence. The barriers that normally divide individual minds appear to fall away, creating an experiential field where shared thoughts and emotions seem to flow freely. Beyond ego dissolution, psychedelics are known to significantly impact social cognition and emotional processing. A 2021 study by O'Kearney and Johnson, published in Frontiers in Psychology, examined psychedelic-induced changes in social functioning and connectedness. While it didn't directly study telepathy, it found that psychedelics could lead to increased agreeableness and feelings of social connection in participants. Imagine a state where your natural defenses are lowered, your capacity for empathy is amplified, and your desire for connection is profoundly enhanced. In such a state, normal social cues and emotional resonance could be perceived with an intensity that feels like direct mind-to-mind communication. It's not necessarily that new information is being exchanged, but rather that existing information, emotions, intentions, subtle cues, is being processed and felt with an unprecedented depth. More recently, a proposed theory from Dr. Ryan Levin, highlighted by Ohio State News in 2025, suggests that psychedelics might induce right brain dominance. This hemispheric annealing and lateralization under psychedelics heals theory posits that by temporarily shifting brain dominance to the right hemisphere, psychedelics could enhance psychological flexibility, creativity, and critically, greater empathy, harmony and connection, a broader attentional window. If our brains are operating with a broader, more interconnected perceptual filter, it's easy to see how the subjective experience of telepathy could arise, as our capacity to process subtle cues and feel connected to others is dramatically amplified. The idea of using altered states for profound communication isn't new, it's deeply rooted in human history. Long before modern labs started studying neuroreceptors, indigenous cultures around the world utilized psychedelic plants in ritualistic settings, often seeking guidance, healing, and yes, even forms of communication beyond the ordinary. Jeremy Narby, in The Cosmic Serpent, details his work with Amazonian shamans who speak of telepathic communication with plant spirits and even accessing a collective, intelligent consciousness through ayahuasca ceremonies. This isn't literal conversation, but a profound transfer of knowledge, insight, and feeling. Similarly, Stephen V. Bayer's Singing to the Plants delves into mestizo shamanism where shared visions, communal healing, and felt connections between participants are central to the experience. The shaman often acts as a conduit, guiding the shared psychic space, and the participants report feeling deeply interwoven with each other and the spirit world. Even literary figures like Aldous Huxley, reflecting on his mescaline experiences in The Doors of Perception, describe a transcendence of ordinary perception, an unlocking of what he called the mind at large. While not explicitly telepathy, his writings evoke a sense of tapping into a universal consciousness, a realm where all things are interconnected, making the notion of individual minds connecting feel entirely plausible within that framework. Terence McKenna, though controversial, in Food of the Gods, often spoke of the potential for psychoactive plants to reconnect humanity to a collective unconscious or a deeper, shared evolutionary memory, hinting at a non-ordinary mode of information exchange. So, after all this exploration, where do we land on the question, is psychedelic telepathy a real phenomenon? Here's my persuasive point: literal, verifiable telepathy, as a scientific phenomenon where specific thoughts or complex information are reliably transmitted mind to mind via psychedelics, remains unproven by conventional scientific methods. We simply don't have the objective data to support it in that narrow, testable sense. No controlled experiment has reliably demonstrated someone knowing a random string of numbers or a detailed image from another person's mind solely through psychedelic influence. However, to dismiss psychedelic telepathy entirely would be to ignore the profound, transformative, and undeniably real subjective experiences reported by countless individuals across cultures and time. The feeling of intense empathy, the blurring of individual boundaries leading to a sense of unity, the profound sense of understanding another person without words, these are incredibly potent and impactful phenomena. These aren't hallucinations in the typical sense. They are deeply felt experiential truths that can lead to significant shifts in a person's worldview, their relationships, and their capacity for compassion. Perhaps telepathy is simply the best word we have in our limited vocabulary to describe a state of hyperempathy and interconnectedness that transcends our normal waking consciousness. It might be a powerful neurological illusion, a byproduct of altered brain states that allows us to perceive emotional and subtle cues with unprecedented clarity. But if an illusion can foster genuine compassion, break down barriers, and facilitate healing and understanding, then its impact is profoundly real. That's all for this journey into the mind-bending world of psychedelic telepathy. Join us next time on The Thread, where we continue connecting the dots between the universe's greatest mysteries, the strange realities we inhabit, and the hidden currents that shape our world.